Can you pass me that chair?
So, alright everyone, here's what we got. We have, I'm assuming on the left, MisterHomes.
Yes.
Against, on the right, Johnbloodythumbs. I think I said that right for a change this time. Looks like both players are settling for a strength agility build. They're going to be good at running away from stuff. Hit points might be an issue later, might not be, we shall see. It's Dragon Warrior Randomizer. It's good times, it's very random, and I'll let Card take it from here.
Oh, we're starting. Here we go. Oh, hang on. I have to account for stream delay. Let's just watch when they start on the stream.
But don't cross the streams.
Okay, yeah, they're almost synced. That's pretty good. I've got the right seed. Everything's good to go. So let's see what they start with.
Got a heal spell to start off. Never a bad thing.
Gold and wings. So they will have a key to start, and with gold they can get all the keys they want right away.
Yep. Gonna go ideally right in the back of Tanagel Castle, buy all the keys, and then see what's in the treasury, see what's down the stairs. No need to go anywhere else.
Both players know what they're doing. MisterHomes is doing a safety save first. It's a little early for that. He'll want to, like, the better thing to do is to save after he's actually collected everything. But not a problem. Only takes an extra 10 seconds or so.
For sure. Looks like John went for the safety save and then realized, hey, I have all this money. It doesn't matter if I do that because I'm going to have keys at the end of it no matter what.
John opting to check the cave first.
See what is in the Tanagel basement. Holmes is doing the exact same thing. They're in a dark cave.
It's either, it looks like it's either mountain or tablet based on Johnbloodythumbs' movement. Yeah, confirmed. Mountain or tablet. Oh, and there's an enemy, so it's the mountain cave. I'm gonna,
John's just getting out of dodge right away. He doesn't want nothing to do with that with level 1.
MisterHomes actually died, but he's spent all his money already pretty much, so it's not a concern of his.
Yeah, no big loss there. You get the keys, that is the important part. Let's see what we got in the treasury. Well, there's another key there, so the money was nice, but perhaps a bit superfluous, because they could have gotten a key and then gone and bought more keys.
Two herbs, key and torch. Again, a no money seed.
In the treasury.
I'm just going to resize MisterHomes' video because I'm missing a little bit of the top.
What's going to be interesting to see is if either the players can recognize that if there's a money chest in that mountain cave in the basement of Tanagel, they can still, you know, duplicate a chest and get a whole ton of money. They're just going to have to do it in an unsafe place, so they might want to get a few levels and get an outside spell first, but they can still possibly do it as long as there's a money chest down there.
This should be much better now. There we go. Alright, so another...
Looks like both players are going to opt for an early level here, for safety's sake. I don't necessarily disagree with that, because look at all those swamp tiles outside the castle. Hard to move around with that going on.
Yeah, fortunately they have a safe space to get around, but who knows what's lurking outside of this zone. It's certainly good to get 5 experience for the first level and see if you grab a heal more spell or hurt. Lots of good options.
Not even be a bad idea to go the whole 9 yards and get that 17 experience for level 3. Get that extra chance of learning a real nice spell early on.
Yeah, they could even get a decent strength boost from level 2 and then be able to kill like a Magidrake or a Magician and jump straight to level 3 immediately.
Well, it looks like Holmes is going to get his first level up right here. Let's see what kind of stats we're getting.
Mhm.
Not the most impressive level 2 in the world. Only 3 strength and 6 hit points.
This is so rare for both players to start with keys and not end up with virtually anything from it. Like, it's just almost like a normal opening right now.
Except for the fact that they're not sweating to find Rimuldar key in the chest later on.
Yes.
They don't have to worry about the keys. But yeah, usually when you have early keys, you're either looking at a boatload of money and you can have decent equipment, or maybe you find Erdrick's sword in the treasury or something like that. So it's a better than average opening for sure, but not living up to the potential that you usually expect early keys to be. Didn't really gain any significant advantage from that.
Johnbloodythumbs trying to get a big jump fighting a magician, but it looks like it's just a bit too early. He could get lucky and finish it off. He does have one heal left, but it'll be close. He's still getting half-half attacks for one and misses, so it's looking unlikely right now.
He decided that discretion was the better part of valor and decided to run away from the magician.
Oh, his stream is lagging out right now.
A little too tough for that level 1 stat pool. Holmes is going for that Magi-Drakey, and he's got him. He'll be level 3 now.
Let's just see if his stream will reload. It looks like he's still down. There we go.
I was about to say that was a very bad level up until the 38 MP showed up. That's actually pretty nice. They don't really have any offense to back it up, but they're going to be able to heal themselves until the cows come home already with that huge MP pool.
Okay, it looks like Johnbloodythumbs' stream is... No, it's still lagging. I'm not sure. It looks like it's on his end, because obviously MisterHomes is still working.
Yeah, it's definitely on his end. It's just a little bit choppy on my side here too. But as we know about John there, he'd been mentioning both in the Discord and in the race rooms that streaming has been pretty difficult for him. So, you know, let's just look on the positives, and it's great just to see him even being able to stream right now.
Yes, indeed.
We'll make do with the choppy frame rate, just as long as we got both players on the restream here.
Yeah, just so everyone knows, I don't know if he started his timer on time or not, but his timer right now is a little over 3 minutes behind the actual race timer. So he might have started it late, but if he didn't, he might be a little bit behind, and we'll have to account for that later. We'll figure it out. It looks like Johnbloodythumbs is making his first dive into the mountain cave. We'll get a better picture of what's there. I think it was MisterHomes who discovered the Axe Knight. I'm not sure if John discovered anything too dangerous. But we'll see if he can get past the first floor.
John just saw a ghost and ran away. He wanted to have a little bit more stats on his side, but now he is seeing that the Axe Knight is in fact down there.
So yeah, it looks like MisterHomes is correctly assessing that because it's at home and his stats are low, he might be dying a few more times. He doesn't have to worry about getting into the mountain cave too fast. He wants to just build a couple more levels so that he's ready for it, so that it's a little more safe.
Yeah, as long as you have tons of keys, you can open that door anytime. And if you die, the door is still open whenever you respawn, as long as you don't leave the castle. It's just important that you have the survivability to actually make it through there and open all those treasure chests. And then, most likely, we're going to see a return trip to the cave if there's a chest with money in there. Because once they see that chest with the money, I think both players are going to know that they can leave the castle, enter, loot the treasury, and then go in and then dupe that said treasure chest inside of the mountain cave in order to be able to afford all their stuff.
Yes,
But I
indeed.
don't think we're going to see that for. I don't think we're going to see that for a while yet, just because neither of them have really left the starting area and actually found any towns where they could buy any equipment. I can hear you.
Yeah, this mic is super sensitive.
That's all right.
I'm.
Holmes just found the stones.
Oh, that was the stones. Okay.
Holmes found the stones. You know, I like Mr. Holmes. He's a Dragon Warrior player. He's got real soft hands to grip that controller and press those buttons. If you want a nice little Pat Tabler joke there.
Well, I have met him, and actually, I'm going to be seeing him next week in person, so I can verify.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, so I can verify the softness of, or lack thereof, of his hands.
Huh.
Good general grind zone here. Both players advancing up to gradually through magicians and magidrakes.
And they can do it. They have the MP. They have the staying power to beat these guys until the end of time.
Yeah, having heal makes a huge difference in these early stages when you can't really branch out, but the levels are very short between enemies.
Yeah, it's not quite as ideal as having something overpowered like Hurt More, or even depending on the enemy's sleep, but the huge MP pool that they have, just allows them to sit there, relax, grind comfortably until they're at a level that they feel good about to actually go and explore the map that they have been randomized to have.
So yeah, even though they both started with a key source, this is looking to be my favorite kind of seed, the kind where you really have to grind out every spot rather than being handed something like Edric's Sword or Hurtmore, which just blasts everything wide open. It's still going to be a while before they're going to be comfortable. Neither player has even found a town where they can shop for additional equipment.
Well, to be fair, neither player has really gone and looked for a town. They're definitely showing the respect for what the randomizer could have in store for them. I don't think either of them have actually left the starting area yet on the world map, because they know that there's a real good chance that they could run into a red dragon, blue dragon, arbor knight, axe knight, stone golem, etc. to just ruin their day.
It's true, neither player has any gold yet, so when they do decide to branch out, they won't be risking much other than time, of course. And Mr. Holmes just starting to walk out on to the east. He's found another cave. We'll see what's in there.
He's found the jerk.
Me too.
Well, it's a little more catchier than Rainbow Drop Guy.
Mr. Holmes clearly headed in a good direction. He has found a town, and that town is Garinham.
Nothing wrong with that. He's going to see what's in the local weapon shop.
As well as 3 treasure chests and a new cave.
Mm-hmm. Picking up that small shield. Probably going to go grab a dragon scale, from the looks of things. I mean, the dragon scale doesn't really seem like a whole lot, but there's a whole lot of borderline, agility, equipment level stats where that dragon scale can make the difference between taking 16 and 32 and 1 and 17. Really just depends on the situation and the enemy. Never a reason not to get the dragon scale.
Yeah, if I don't have Radiant, I'm always looking for torches early on, but the Dragon Scale generally takes priority for me. Even though it's only 2 defense, it's still... it just feels like it's very important, and it'll serve you well throughout the entire seed, especially when added to a strength agility build.
Absolutely.
Mr. Holmes does actually have Radiant, and discovers the north side of the swamp cave, not going to check through. He might have used his outside spell to check through if he were on the south entrance.
Well, there's no real reason for him to want to see where it goes just yet, because he knows he can't backdoor into, say, Tantagle, for example, because he's already been there. Now, I did can see a town on the lower portion of his screen, and I'm going to assume that he also saw it at this point because it's just sitting there while he's attempting to fight this scorpion.
Conveniently enough, right next to town is also that large treasure chest gold source. So if it's something like Cantlin, he's got multiple ways to buy, a few early items. Like he could get a broadsword. It's actually Remolder, which is
Mm-hmm.
not necessary anymore. But we'll see what's in the weapon shop here. He knows the gold is nearby. Yeah, I think he'll get a broadsword. I don't have any doubt. Even though he's buying a copper sword here, I think he'll go back and get a broadsword.
He's picking up the leather armor too. Not a bad purchase when he's got nothing on. It only costs 70 gold. It's another 4 defense points. Why not? He's going to check the treasure chest here, which, as I commented on the last race, is something that a lot of people seem to forget to check. And in this case, it absolutely pays off because now he's just going to be swinging Erdrick's sword around.
So never mind about going back for the broadsword. In fact, there's nothing else that needs to be bought from there. He can just continue straight on. And that's exactly what he's doing, heading north and already finding another cave. This is a very convenient cluster for him. He's clearly exploring in the right direction, finding a lot of stuff early. And that's going to give him an advantage if John chooses to explore a different direction.
We'll just have to wait and see what John does whenever he's comfortable to leave the relative safety of the starting area.
There's been a little bit of additional lag, but I think like the difference in timers is still the same. So I think John is actually streaming current right now, and I think his timer is just 3 minutes behind. Like he might have started at 3 minutes late. So I think this is actually a representation of where they are.
I'm going to have to agree with you because I don't see why this one stream would be 3 minutes behind the other, even though I'm seeing the exact same thing here. I just refreshed them both when you mentioned that because I'm thinking, what? That can't be right.
So MisterHomes through the tablet cave, just a torch in there, nothing significant, but one more cave that he doesn't have to search later. It's also worth pointing out that since he has Edric's sword, as soon as he finds the 3 critical items, he won't have to search something like Garen's grave if he already has everything else. But of course, since he's already been through... oh, he hasn't dove into the mountain cave. There could still be stuff down there.
No, he didn't finish exploring that. But yeah, exactly. Once you find all the items in the chests, you don't need to worry about chests anymore. From there, it just becomes a search for coal, Hawksness, and if you still haven't found everything, the coordinates from Cantlin.
Impressively enough, John is still very close in experience. Before MisterHomes beat that Spectre, John was actually ahead in experience very slightly. So, again, if John explores to the right and gets that sword, there won't be very much of a difference between them.
Very true. We got a metal slime spotted on home screen.
And
We'll
Mr.
see
Holmes
if he
gets
can
it.
have the luck to kill him, and there's the excellent move. He's going to swat that metal slime and go up to level 7.
Obviously an advantage, although John has found his own metal slime. Oh, it ran away. He is strong enough already to make that happen. He's found a new cave, which I don't think Mr. Holmes has found yet. And it is...
He found the back door to the swamp cave and wisely cast outside to just skip it and see where it goes. And now he's backdoored into Garenham, which is something he could have gotten into naturally with the keys that he's got.
Yeah, that works well
Based
for
on
him.
where we know the sword is, he could leave town and possibly see where it's at right now and get right back in the thick of things here.
Nothing he needs to buy here, but he will check it out. Not concerned about throwing away a key. Hand axe just out of range. Otherwise, I assume he would have bought it. But again, I do expect him to find that sword relatively soon.
Picking up a pair of clothes and dragon scale.
Hasn't used the dragon scale yet. This is always a thing. I've forgotten to put it on before, and because of that, I very often end up trying to put it on twice. Yeah, he still hasn't remembered, so we'll try and keep an eye on his screen to see if he remembers at some point.
Mm-hmm. Also, another interesting thing I just saw from John, he didn't use the door command. He went into his item menu and used the key to open the door. Just a little bit slower than using the one command for the one action instead of the two commands for the one action.
It does take slightly longer.
I don't think I've seen that before.
Sorry? I was just going to say that the only... I do that sometimes, and just the reason is to check how many magic keys I have in case I'm about to run out.
Oh! Well, in that case, that's definitely a useful way to use it right there, just to make sure that you still have keys left. I can definitely say that I've run out of keys when I think, no, I got 3 keys, I'll be fine. But then something happens and it's like, okay, I'm going to need to use a key here. You show up to the door, I don't have any keys left. Oh no.
MisterHomes reaching level 8 with a clear advantage. Obviously, the longer it takes John to find the sword, the more of a deficiency it's going to become. But he is at level 6 now.
Holmes has actually explored in a different direction, and it looks like he's going to find a couple of different things here, because he's got another town to the south of him there. Oh wait, no, never mind, Holmes was there. It just looked a little different on the map for a moment. My bad. So, the sword is right there, as long as he remembers to look for it.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of fortunate here that, he'll probably, oh, I thought he was... Oh, he already bought a hand axe. I actually missed that, but he farmed for Golden Grinham to get the hand axe. That makes sense, and now he will get Edric's sword.
And I don't think you guys can see it on the restream, but I just saw him raise his eyebrows real high there. He's definitely pleased that he has that murdering stick in his hands now. Feels like he's on top of the world. It's time to, take this game and bend it over his knee kind of thing. But he's got a bit of work to do. Holmes has 2 levels on him right now, with a very similar amount of exploration done.
Yeah, you can see they're only about 500 experience apart, but that's a little more significant early on because it's not like you can just hurt more anything you find. So it'll probably magnify itself into somewhere closer to 1,000 experience as the levels progress before they start evening out in pace.
And possibly more if they actually have to grind to a unnaturally high level for the randomizer.
John is preparing to make his way into the mountain cave now, eating up some chests first so that he can potentially gold grind when he goes in. He's thinking of the right things to do.
Yep. All he has to do is find that all-important money chest in there, and then he can just take it over and over again. He knows where all the good stuff is to buy. He just has to get her done, shall we say. Definitely a safe strategy to use there. Focus on your player's power. But Holmes is doing a little different. Holmes is focusing on exploration, which generally seems to pay off in the long run because you find where everything is. You find all the things you need, all the tools you need to complete the game a lot quicker. And as long as you have the power, either a good weapon and a good strength stat or the hurt more spell, you can gain the levels as you are exploring.
John finding the stones on the first floor. I don't think I've seen anything on the second floor yet. I don't think either player's made it yet. And unfortunately, the Axe Knight finishes him off here, so we'll have to wait to find out.
That Axe Knight just keeps saying no. They've both been trying to get to that second floor, and that Axe Knight is just like, no, man, no, there is no second floor. You should just, go somewhere else. It's okay.
I was worried for a second there because he stopped moving in the throne room for about 5 seconds, but he's back in motion, no problems. And back into the mountain cave.
Seems like he just had to take a quick breather there to, consider his strategic options here. He's just thinking, okay, can I make it to those stairs before that Axe Knight gets me again? Because he knows if he can get down there, chances are the encounters, well, you're pulling from a pool of so many monsters. More than likely, he'll be able to run from the nasties and fight the fodder and open up enough chests. Or at least get to that all-important gold chest and start getting all the money in the world.
Now, Mr. Holmes just got the coordinates for whatever item is on the map, and something very interesting to note. I have only seen this happen in one other race, and McGrew hadn't seen it happen either, so when he was watching, he wanted to go to sleep, but he was going to stick around to see what happened, because he knew that one of the coordinates was 3 digits, and that would create some kind of problem, but he didn't know what it would be, so he stuck around in case he would have to give us the coordinates manually. And what happened was, at the end of the guy's speech, he just says, "It's a legend." That's the only difference that happens. So thankfully it doesn't crash the game, it doesn't cause any problems, that's all.
Those were some pretty big numbers. I think both players, depending on what they find in Cole and or Hawksness, may want to rescue the princess to look down that item on the overworld. That's a tall order to count that out.
Yeah, I have to admit, seeing over 160 steps would compel me to try and rescue the princess early. I think I would do it.
Mm-hmm. I think a few people in chat are probably pleased by that development. They want to see Dragon Warrior, save the world with his woman at his side after all. I mean, Dragon Warrior's like, a love story or something, fundamentally, maybe? I don't know.
Oh yeah, there's that in there.
So it looks like that Spectre had the worst fire breath in the world. You probably don't want to fight that guy.
Yeah, with Edric's sword, they'll cross the threshold reasonably early when they can, kill them in 2 hits and they can absorb enough HP, but they're not there yet without Edric's armor at this level of HP, so they will want to avoid Dragon Lord breath-breathing monsters for a while.
Looks like Holmes is going to make another attempt at the mountain cave, which is in the basement of a castle in a swamp. Also to note, he didn't loot the treasury first, so he's not thinking about duplicating any gold chests that he finds in here. He's just looking for what's in there. He's not even worried about that. I kind of get the feeling that Holmes has resigned himself to the fact that he's going to have a large shield at the end game.
We just found out that Droll Magis have Heal More, but John was still trying to fight one after it cast Heal More. That was a bit of a surprise, and it did finish him off. Meanwhile...
judging from his response on his camera, it may have been a mistake for him to choose attack. I don't think he meant to do that.
There is lots of...
It looks like there is actually a couple of chests with gold inside the Tantagle basement/mountain cave. So gold duplication is possible. It's just not the most intuitive way of doing it.
Always have to search the final chest, even if it's a long walk. We're too early on to be risking missing an important item down there.
Well, effectively, there's really no time lost to go look for some of those longer treasure chests, because at least in the early to mid-game, you still need the experience to get the levels that you're going to need to finish the game. So if you get a couple of encounters on the way there, you're still serving your overall purpose, even if you find something crappy like, say, in Holmes' case here, a cursed belt.
Alright, John has found Cole, and Cole has the fairy flute. I was wondering if he would find the armor, and if that would be one of those factors that would allow him to catch up reasonably quickly, but no armor yet. It could be on those coordinates so far away from home, or that could just simply be the token. We'll have to wait and see.
Holmes does see that there is that silver shield for sale in Cole. We'll see if he makes another attempt at duping his gold in the mountain cave here, now that he knows that he can actually buy the shield somewhere. Sorry, I meant John. I think I sent Holmes by mistake. Their names are very, very similar to me.
John Bloody Holmes.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. Here's the problem I'm having in terms of differentiating guys in this race. I was in a band for close to 4 years, and the drummer in the band was a fellow by the name of, I shit you not, John Holmes. John Holmes. Yep. So now that we have John versus Holmes, I can't tell the two of them apart. And Holmes, there we go, I got the right guy this time. Holmes has now found coal. He's going to pick up that fairy flute. And is he going to check the weapons store? Nope, he's going to go to the inn.
Still no signs of John using that dragon scale. Unfortunately, I think it was just an oversight, and he probably won't use it throughout the race. Oh, okay. Meanwhile, green dragons also have Dragon Lord Breath, another enemy to avoid for a while.
You never want to see one of those endgame enemies have the Dragon Lord Fire Breath, because you have to run away from them whenever you're going down Sherlock Castle. Even if it's something where the odds generally are going to be in your favor endgame to run away, there's always that chance, you know, that 25%, possibly even less chance, where you fail to run away and they're just like, I'm going to breathe Dragon Lord Fire at you, and you're just like, oh, great. There's, 40, 50-ish hit points gone. That can really drain on your reserves if you're on a if you're on a setup of stats where the victory is very close. Like you don't have a couple of heal mores to spare on the way down. You never want to see something like that.
It's worth noting both players are on strength agility for this race, and judging by their above average HP for the levels they're at, I think it'll be the right decision for this particular race. I've seen a lot of races recently where strength HP could go at one level lower, and that makes me worry about using strength agility in future races, but I think I'm going to stick to it for the next race and just see what happens from there.
I agree with you there. I think you have to stick with your guns. I mean, yes, in general, maybe strength HP can get you to go a level sooner the odd time, but you have to just consider how easier it is for you to run away from things. And I mean, an extra 2 or 3% doesn't seem like a whole lot per encounter, but there's a lot of times that you're going to run away throughout the course of one of these runs. So the difference between one extra level between strength HP and strength agility in terms of, or in comparison to, being able to run away from stuff, I think it could really balance out unless you actually have to grind to a significant level where the level up is like 3,000, 4,000 experience. Then maybe not quite so much.
Mr. Holmes killing yet another metal slime is off to a significant lead in experience. Nothing that can't be overcome, but he does have a lead right now, and it looks like he's doing everything right, so it should serve him well in the middle game.
Our other competitor, John, has successfully managed to get into the mountain cave and start duping his gold. He's got that outside spell, so he's going to be going for that silver shield very shortly.
Yeah, that could be a major equalizing factor, the fact that he can get better armor before he finds Edric's armor and the silver shield. There have been a lot of powerful enemies around, and that's going to help him a lot.
At the level that they're at, the silver shield isn't going to help too much against the endgame enemies, but against a lot of the mid-game enemies that they seem to be running into, Holmes is going to run into guys that can still get a nice hit on him, but if John gets that silver shield, they're probably in the safe zone for him, so he can grind in relative safety on, say, Wolflord through Wyverns, for example.
Yeah, all the enemies you want to find in the middle game, especially when you get Edric's sword and you can start killing most of them in 2 hits or less. Yeah, John is grinding way past 14 1,800 gold, so obviously he's looking for magic armor as well, and because Cantlin is nearby, there are all sorts of possibilities there. I haven't seen what's in every shop, but I assume he knows there's a good chance of finding it.
He's got the money, but he's not casting outside.
Right, I guess he hasn't seen the last 2 chests yet, and he just wants to get those first. Oh, he doesn't know what the club is. What was that?
It was a torch.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to be fine. He's not even afraid to fight this wolf. Although that's a little scary that they have hurt
That was
more.
very close. Very close.
A club
Found
and
the
a bamboo
bamboo
pole. Of course, the bamboo pole was the cursed belt. We remember that from Mr. Holmes' run. And he's made
I
it
have to
out.
wonder right now, though, why is it that sometimes, even on the same seed, you know, players perform the chess glitch, but then one player will get from the same glitched chest a sword magidrak, and then the other player will get like a bamboo pole or even the ball of light.
Yeah, I've also noticed that if you search a chest the first time, it'll give you one thing, and then if you search it multiple times after that, it'll give you a different thing over and over and over, like a different name for it. I don't exactly know how the text works, but thank goodness it's not a concern. Again, it doesn't crash the game or affect it in any negative way. You just have to search your menu and find out what you actually have.
It's very mysterious.
McGrew has all the answers. We can always ask him later.
No, wait, McGrew isn't here right now. He's restreaming the other race right now.
Mr. Holmes just earning level 10. I think it said he learned a new spell, but I don't think he's checked what it is yet. And Mr. Holmes bravely taking a swipe at a Star Wyvern.
Wow. That's very bold.
Now he finds out that it has sleep, so he casts Stop Spell, and since he has Heal More, this has become a winnable battle for him. And actually very safe. Like, just the fact that it has sleep actually improves his odds, and it'll be a long battle, but he's going to win it in 4 or 5 attacks, maybe 6.
Well, even if the Star Wyvern had no spells, he could alternate attacks and heal mores with the hit points that he have. But yeah, just by the virtue that the Star Wyvern actually has a spell, he can block most of his turns, as we just saw there. It looked a little sketchy because, you know, all of his fonts and numbers and stuff were in the red, like he was almost dead, but, you know, no panic in the game. He knew what was going on. That was a 100% fight. He just had to sit down, focus, get her done.
We did see that John got the silver shield right before his stream started lagging out. We're going to check his gold carefully to assume that he got the magic armor as well once he comes back up. But I didn't see what else was being sold in coal, but I assume he's going to get magic armor very soon.
I missed what he got there, but his gold is empty, so he bought something else of pretty good value.
Yeah, so we'll go with magic armor because that lines up perfectly.
So he's got all the defense in the world. Offense is still lacking for both players.
Yeah, for starting with Edric's sword, they still have a bit of a ways to climb, and no hurt more just yet, so it's not a total cakewalk, but just a lot of above-average helpful things have gotten this seed off to a relatively quick start, and they're not far away from the smooth area of the game. Sure.
That's strengths that definitely could use a little bit of work there. We're going to want to cross our fingers and hope they get some nice level ups in the near future.
Alright, John's stream is back up. Mr. Holmes had a town flash on the corner of his screen there. I hope he's already seen it, because if not, he's just going to walk right by it. But I assume that he saw it and he's already been there.
I don't think we've been to that town. I don't remember either player going to a town in that location, so he might not have seen it.
Oh, he went down again, but it was still off to the right, just barely, like by one column. And
Right below that swamp. Yeah.
I don't know, if this ends up being a dead end, he might turn around and see it. But if not, he's gonna go straight away from it and continue exploring.
I can still hear you.
Yeah, you can also talk at volume, that's no problem.
No, I can't. I'm not allowed to.
I meant Sparkover.
Oh. Nah, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, if John's stream goes down for more than a few seconds, we'll keep refreshing it and make sure it comes back.
The frame rate hasn't been great, but it hasn't actually gone down for me. So it looks like Holmes has found Garen's grave. 5 more chests ripe for the plundering.
And as we know, there's the Staff of Rain. As we know, there aren't many treasure chests left. In fact, I think he's actually found all of them. So we can expect the Stones of Sunlight down here, and whether... Oh, that's right, he already got the stones. So whether or not he finds the token depends entirely on whether or not it's in a chest here or in one of the 3 locations.
Well, we did get those completely absurd coordinates from the old dude in Cantlin, so...
I'm a little confused right now. Mr. Holmes just cast outside. He might just be assuming that the token is in Hawksness or on the map, but that's not a totally safe assumption to make right now. So that was a little bit risky, and we'll just have to wait and see which location it's actually in.
It's definitely a bold play, but it would take him a good 3 to 5 minutes to check the other 2 chests in there, because they are quite a ways down. But he knows what he's missing right now. So if it turns out that that token is either in Hawksness or on that very seclusive spot on the overworld, he's made the right choice.
It was definitely a surprise for the middle game. I wouldn't have been surprised if he were a little bit later and there was nothing worth fighting there, but that's personally, it's not a risk I would have taken. But yeah, we'll see where the token ends up.
I also would have just seen what the chests have, because at this point they still could definitely use a handful of levels in order to be able to actually finish the game. So at this point, what's the hurt to explore a few more levels of a dungeon, because you're going to have to kill the stuff on the way anyway.
Absolutely. There's also still the Fighter's Ring, which I just can't help but mention enough, because getting the Fighter's Ring is literally equivalent to getting an extra heal more. Sometimes even 2 if you're able to go when you're weaker and, like, you know, you have a bunch of heal mores and you're going to be doing a lot of low attacks. It could end up meaning 2 heal mores if you can do enough attacks.
It really depends on what your character's attack strat is, but yes, on average, it's probably an extra 8 or 9 damage over the course of a full Dragon Lord 2 fight. Because it would take your damage up from, say, 6 to 11 to 6 to 12. You won't get that whole extra damage every attack, but every other attack. And you gotta think, if you're fighting Dragon Lord, you're gonna hit him a good 15, 16 times. Unless you have just some completely overpowering stats where you just know you win going in and it doesn't matter. But that's why the fast leveling is good, because you'll usually get a situation where you have to decide if the risk for the stats that you have is worth attempting to make. You have to know what the odds are for your stats and decide, should I try it now or should I get that extra level for safety?
Someone in chat saying Mr. Holmes has the magic armor, but I saw him go into Cantlin and put the cursor over the magic armor and then press B, and it said, please come again.
He didn't have the money for it. I don't think he bought the magic armor. I certainly didn't see him buy it. He looked at it. That's about it.
The golem is the enemy in Hawksness, and since Mr. Holmes has the fairy flute, he's definitely going to get the kill here.
Yeah, he's easy prey. He's got 10 heal mores. I mean, he could get really bad RNG and have to play that flute a whole bunch, but it's inconceivable that he loses this fight.
Right, if the token is on one of the overworld locations, he's going to get a vital item here, whether it's the armor or the token. And if there's nothing here, the armor will definitely be on those coordinates, and he'll head back to Garen's Grave for the token.
And if the armor's here, I think chances are good, because he skipped the 2 items in the basement, that he'll go track down the princess and try to find that overworld location. Because he decided he didn't want to check those chests. He's thinking, yeah, Hawksness/overworld. Because he already found the flute, so he's got to know that the 2 remaining spots, you know, it's up in the air a bit there.
Gets another level as a nice bonus there, and Edric's armor. So the token is on the map, and Mr. Holmes' gamble, aside from the possibility of there being a fighter's ring in the basement, has paid off.
Well, we don't know for... Oh, okay, we know for sure that the token's on the overworld because he's found the other spots. But unless you've actually looked at the other stuff, you don't know for sure, even if the guy gives you coordinates, that the token's on the overworld. Because sometimes you can look at the tile in Cole or Hawksness and be like, yeah, there's nothing there. But yeah, in this case, it's definitely on the overworld. His gamble did pay off. He's playing the game the right way.
I'm curious to see if he'll try to count it out, or if he's going to get the princess. It's a super huge distance, but a fairly open and straightforward map. I haven't watched him play in a while yet, because he hasn't had internet for about a month. He hasn't been able to race lately. But, yeah, I'm just waiting to see if he's going straight to the swamp cave. He probably is. I imagine he's not counting out the distance at this speed, and his walking looks a little too erratic to be doing that. So yeah, he's probably going for the princess.
And meanwhile, John also has found Hawksness and the golem. He's got the flute. He's going to show this guy what for, find his armor, and then he's going to also know that the token is... Well, he doesn't have his coordinates yet, I don't think, so he's not going to be sure if it's on the overworld or not yet. I don't think he's been to Cantlin. I have not seen him actually go in there and get the coordinates yet.
Level 10.
But the armor is never a bad thing to have.
Both players leveling up from that golem. That's kind of cute. And John will get Edric's armor now. Once he finds the search command, there it is.
Sometimes you have to search for the search command. It's just hiding on you.
So
just
it's always
slightly out of your eyesight.
It's always nice to see when the player who's behind in experience has some form of compensation. In this case, John was the one who realized that you could still reverse gold grind and get that silver shield. Not necessarily a game changer, but it's just nice to see that he has a form of compensation for that experience gap.
Definitely hard to say if it's an equalizer, but he's going right back in there. He's going to grind this golem.
Oh, that's something I didn't expect either.
He recognizes the situation that he's at. He can just fairy flute, and the odd time he wakes up, toss a heal more, slap him. It's 255 experience. I mean, he's not gaining anything on the exploration game here, but he will probably catch and surpass Holmes in levels before too long, even though they are over 1,000 apart. Because 255 a battle, that's hard to argue against, my good friends.
Indeed. I don't think I would have made this decision, but I applaud him for it. I love the idea of getting 255 experience per battle this early on, and he is going to be able to equalize a lot of the experience gap. Meanwhile, Mr. Holmes rescuing the princess will be on his way to the token shortly. Oh no, actually, he's trying to get away. Oh wow, he got away from the red dragon carrying the princess. He would have had to save her again otherwise.
Those fun police did their best. I guess Holmes just didn't have enough wanted stars. They gave up. So he's alright. He will be able to salvage this, is my prediction.
Making a safety stop in Garinham, he went to the item shop first, which means he was looking for a pair of wings to get home safely. There were none. Garinham does not sell wings, so he's got to walk back. And there are quite a few dangerous enemies here, but...
Absolutely. But hey, on the plus side, he got to spend a nice, relaxing night at Ye Local Inn with Ye Local Princess, right?
Yep.
That's not something that I've seen in any of these races, I don't think, ever. So that's something.
Yeah, it doesn't happen a lot, but it's nice to see those kinds of situations where if there's a little bit of danger, you do the right thing and make it home safely. And Mr. Holmes is officially back in the safe zone, so he will get Gwaelin's love and be on his way straight to the tokens shortly. So let's see how much... the experience gap is still about 900, fairly significant. And, of course, John still has to explore Garen's Grave for the Staff of Rain, and of course get the token as well. I assume he's going to get the princess eventually as well, so there's a clear divide still.
John slightly overestimated his defense against the golem and got killed, so he's got to make the unfortunate walk of shame. No one likes doing that, but, you know, it happens. Sometimes you look at your stats, you feel real good about them, and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, he hit you for 41. It's like, dude, how is that even possible? But there it is.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with how golems worked out as an enemy in this randomizer. Their experience is vastly increased. It's easy to run from them, but they're one of the most powerful enemies attack-wise in the entire game. They have a lot of HP as well. But yeah, they make the fairy flute a very worthwhile, considerable item in a lot of situations. And every once in a while...
Absolutely.
Yeah, every once in a while it's even worth it to grind on golems. As we saw there, it could have worked out much better for John.
There's been plenty of seeds in my experience where the winner has grinded in Hawksness or even at the tile in front of the Dragon Lord on golems because they have the fairy flute. And yes, it does take a solid 7 or 8 seconds to actually play that flute and put the golem fella to sleep, but that's 255 very easy experience as long as you have that flute.
Definitely.
It's really hard to say, you know, if it's worth it or if it's not worth it, because it's a very case-by-case basis. It depends on what your options for grinding are.
Yeah, definitely
Then
worth
again,
considering.
There's also the seeds where you have golem that'll be like, oh, I cast stop spell, oh, I cast hurt, and then you're like, ha, ha, that's cute. You're free 255.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of seeds recently where there are a lot of issues trying to find a grind zone. Like if your strength is a little down and you find, say, a stone man in Hawksness who has sleep or something like that, and you decide, well, it's too slow to grind against them, so you go to Sharlock, and Sharlock has too many difficult enemies for one reason or another. If you find a golem in that grind zone and you have the fairy flute and the golem has tame spells, it could very well be your best option, and that's always something worth considering.
That's right. I mean, the biggest thing whenever it comes to a seed where you actually need to grind after you find everything is finding that good grind spot. Sherlock is usually a good contender for it, but depending on what the enemies do, it's not worth it. Depending on what the enemies that are on the repeatable tiles do, it's not necessarily worth it. And then you're looking for a nice overworld or a nice dungeon zone, and then because of how variant the randomizer is, a lot of these nice zones might be polluted with like blue slimes and drakies and stuff, and you don't want none of that when you're trying to get 100 200 experience a battle. So even while you're exploring, it's still a very good practice to kind of make a mental note of like which of what you can see on the screen when you get into a battle, which kind of battles you're getting in there, and it's like, okay, maybe I will want to or need to grind here later on.
John, making his way through the tablet cave, finds the useless torch, gives it up, and resumes his overworld search for everything. I don't think he's found Garen's grave yet, So it might take him a while to get there. Mr. Holmes, meanwhile, scoping out the location. He's 2 squares away, I believe, and he's going to pick up the token right now.
Yep, he's got it. No crazy glitches there, so we don't have to worry about any of that.
The question did arise, what would happen if both coordinates were 3 digits? And I think McGrew said that it would end up being the same as what we saw here when the guy just says, it's a legend. Maybe the text message would be something different, but he's pretty sure that it wouldn't be a problem.
That's good.
Yeah, you never know, it might come up in one of these.
I've never seen both be 3 digits, and I don't think I really want to.
Yeah, it's very hard to happen, especially since, like, first of all, the starting castle would have to be in a corner, or very close to a corner, and on top of that, the opposite corner would have to be not only accessible, it would have to be land in the first place, and both of those things happening are fairly unlikely, so it might be a while before we see it happen. Obviously, it's a possibility, but it might be a very long time before we actually see it. Bless you. So I assume Mr. Holmes will go through the entire seed without a silver shield. His agility is fairly good for now. Obviously, we have to see if there are red dragons in Charlock. It doesn't look like it'll be anything spectacular in terms of, you know, like triple-digit defense power, for example. I don't think we're going to get to that point.
I hate to be the negative Nancy here, but let's face it, there are always red dragons in Charlock.
Yeah, we've seen all possibilities sometimes, but it's always interesting when we get through a tough seed and then there are red dragons on every floor and you have to reevaluate your entire procedure. The game is not over just because you're ready to fight the Dragon Lord, and that's always a consideration. We'll have to wait and see what we're up against in Charlock in this race.
Yeah, for sure. Even forgetting the fact that you might have to burn a heal more or two just on the way down because red dragons or armored knights are just having none of your running away shenanigans. You might even have to actually fight one of those guys on the tile in front of Dragon Lord. Usually, if you don't know what is on that tile in front of Dragon Lord, you might want to assume you need an extra heal more over what you think your odds are to fight Dragon Lord, just to be safe if you don't know what that tile is.
Johnbloodythumbs you got me doing it now. Johnbloodythumbs managed to kill another metal slime, which narrowed the experience gap slightly, and now, unfortunately, he's stuck in red dragon territory, and I think he's just trying to run. When I first saw it, I actually hoped he was trying to attack. Mr. Holmes is now fighting a red dragon, and he's choosing to attack, so I think he's going to gain a bit of an advantage there as well. Mr. Holmes playing very strong so far, and it looks like he's going to progress gradually toward a smooth finish. John did get away alive, and he's still not that far behind in experience. So obviously anything can still happen. And again, that silver shield is very significant. We pretty much know that he's going to be the only one in this race with a silver shield at the end. So we'll see how much of a difference it can make.
John was just shaking his head after he got away from that red dragon. You know he's thinking, and I should have just been swinging at the guy. I would have got 255 experience out of the deal for how long it took me to run away. But that's a very catch-22 kind of situation there. You don't know that going in. Maybe you get away the first try and you're laughing. Looks like John is content to grind some levels in this desert here, or never mind, he's decided to wander off and look for more stuff.
So with Mr. Holmes having everything except he hasn't actually gotten the rainbow drop yet, and I don't know for sure. I know Johnbloodythumbs has found the jerk cave. I don't remember if Mr. Holmes did or not. I think he found it early on though.
Holmes did not actually find the jerk cave. I did not see him walk into that. It's possible that I missed it, but you know, I'm doing my best to watch both of these guys at once. Like, I had my eyes completely crisscrossed to the point where I could watch like 8 games of this at once. So you should respect my ability to watch Dragon Warrior.
It's a legend. There you go. We see the message on John's stream now when he talks to the coordinate giver in Cantlin. And yeah, it by the way Mr. Holmes is walking around, I was pretty sure I saw him find the Rainbow Drop Cave, but if he did, then he's certainly forgotten where it was, because he's obviously scoping out each cave, and there's only one reason right now, other than potentially the Fighter's Ring, which I believe is not his goal. I think he's looking for that jerk cave.
He hasn't found all the chests because he elected not to open 2 in Garen's grave.
Right.
Which looks like it is going to pay off for him here because he's got everything else. I mean, Fighter's Ring, definitely pretty nice. Not necessary. It could flip the odds in your favor if your stats are very, very borderline, though. He's definitely wanting to get that rainbow drop and get into Sharlock for the primo grinding experience.
There it is. He's found the jerk cave, and he's ready to continue. That would be fine if you did. Yeah, that's true. Or everyone can hear you and
I can hear you.
So yeah, the experience gap between them still remaining just a little bit over 1,000 right now. It's stayed pretty consistent, and John still has a little bit of searching to do. Again, unfortunately hasn't found Garen's grave yet, so he doesn't have the Staff of Rain. He can do grinding on the way to the token, but I'm not sure what's in the grave. Of course, it's just the top floor, but there's also the chance that he will scope out the bottom chests.
Which might not be the worst decision. We're still not sure what level either player is going to need to be able to have a better than coin flip odds at beating the Dragon Lord just quite yet.
Mr. Holmes now reaching level 13.
Traditionally, it's an unlucky number, but it's one of my favorite levels personally. 13 is typically, you know, if the leveling curve is on the good side, 13 is the number of levels that you want to go fight that guy who is a Lord
of the Dragons
or something.
John has indeed found the Garen's grave. I am curious to see if he's going to dive for the other chests or not. He should know that the token's on the map now.
He has found both the flute and the armor, and he's got coordinates, so he should know that that's where the token is, as long as he knows the logic for the randomizer. So once he sees that staff, we should probably see... Honestly, if I'm in this position, I wouldn't even touch the other 2 chests right next to me. I'd just be like, yeah, I know I don't need those. Let's go.
Right, he might search them for the Fighter's Ring, but again, not necessarily majorly important. And there he goes, casting outside.
Yeah, just taking a shot at the Fighter's Ring. He knows that that thing is on the world map. Now, is he going to try to count out some ridiculous coordinates, or is he going to go rescue the princess?
My mind would be blown. I would be so impressed if he knew where he was right now and he were walking, continuing his walk to the token, but I don't think that's going to happen. I assume he's going to get the princess.
You know, I wouldn't be too surprised, but I'd be very impressed if one of these races that we're watching, we see someone like go in and out of a cave, and then just all of a sudden walk in this direction and search a tile on the overworld and go, yeah, you found, the token or the armor or whatever, just because they were paying that much attention to it when, okay, good job.
Yeah, that's multi-level strats right there. Counting out a far distance without the princess and doing a cave halfway through your walk.
But I think at the level that a lot of people are that are in this tournament, that's a very valid strategy to go for. If you can pull it off, that'll give you a very significant edge over someone else, especially when, for the large part, I think even the top 12 people in the tournament are basically all completely, you're flipping a coin as to who's going to win any given race.
Yeah, I
It's
put that
it's very sneaky twink moves like that can win a person a race, I think.
Absolutely. I put that somewhere near the top 6 or so players. I haven't looked at the rankings today, but somewhere around the top 6, all those players are very equally capable of winning races, and the matches between them are all going to be extremely interesting to watch. If they happen, of course. No guarantees.
Never any guarantees. I mean, this is Dragon Warrior. The game can just decide to kill you forever. Hey, I'm a red dragon. No, you can't run away from me. Never. Hey, I'm a red dragon again. Nah, I'm not going to let you go this time either. That's what this game does to you. I mean, you can have so much skill, aptitude, you can understand what to do, you can have a good exploration game, you can be way ahead of the other guy, but unless the game actually wants to let you win, you're not going to win. And that's not the most optimistic thing to be saying, but, that's just kind of how it seems to go sometimes,
Definitely something you've got to be prepared for, any possibility.
Yeah, this is really... There's a lot of randomizers out there, but I think this one more than anyone really tests that mental fortitude. You have to have that never say die attitude. If you get eaten by a red dragon 2 steps in front of the Dragon Lord, you have to be willing to get right back in there and try that thing again.
As we saw today with Error's match, again, unfortunate that he wasn't actually able to beat the Dragon Lord, but he would have been a favorite each time if the Dragon Lord didn't attack first and if he didn't run out of herbs. He did the right thing and he stuck it out, and it's unfortunate that it didn't pay off, but he did end up having the time to return to the Dragon Lord at least 2 more times and take his shot.
That's
and
right.
That was good.
That's right. He knew the situation. He knew it was a one-on-one race, and he knew it's like, these stats are more than doable. I just have to get in there and do it.
So MisterHomes is looking for a new grind zone inside Sherlock, so far staying on the first floor, just seeing what he's up against. I suppose he could make a decision based on what he sees if he wants to walk deeper to fight other things. But he knows he's not there yet, only 111 attack power. Although all his other stats are looking pretty good. He's in range with HP and MP. Agility's a little low, but we'll see how that turns out over the next level or 2.
Well, he's going to get one very shortly here. Just 1 or 2 kills away now.
Meanwhile, John is rescuing the princess, preparing for that long walk virtually across the entire map to find the token. And I believe he knows where the Jerk Cave is, so it won't be too long before he can make his way to Sherlock after that.
Yeah, the primary difference, because John is still going to be able to level while he goes and gets that token, the big difference is the experience gap right now. So you have to give Holmes the advantage here. I mean, Us on commentary, we don't want to play favorites, but we're stating the facts. Holmes is definitely ahead right now. So if John's going to win this, he's probably going to have to take a really, really risky fight at this point.
Yeah, so once again, if we analyze what factors contribute to an interesting race, we've got one here, and that remains John's Silver Shield on this relatively low agility seed. If unless there's a large agility gain relatively soon, it could make a difference in the feasibility of walking down through Sharlock, depending on what monsters are there. So we've still got a measure of excitement as this unfolds, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the next few levels bring. Mr. Holmes only getting small agility gain from level 14.
Not nearly enough to make him feel confident about going down there, assuming he even had the strength to actually fight Dragon Lord, which he does not yet. So level 14, not the magic number that we're looking for. In fact, 15 is looking kind of doubtful right now with his strength at, I think it was 76, correct me if I'm wrong?
Yeah, that's right.
76, yeah. Unless he gets 10 strength at level 15, they're probably looking level 16 or beyond here. We'll see what happens. I mean, we don't want this to drag on too long because, well, the end game just gets a little more tedious than we'd like it. You know, on average for the randomizer, 16 is the average level that you finish at, the way that all the stats curves are. And based on what we've seen so far, that's looking to be the most likely outcome. I don't want to be the guy that says, yeah, it's going to be, 0 strength, 1 strength. I'm just saying it could happen, not that I want it to happen.
I agree with you mathematically that it's less than 50% that he'll have enough, that Mr. Holmes will have enough strength at level 15. So level 16 is a fairly good bet, and we're still at the levels where it's not the full 2250 to get the next level. So again, we're not expecting this to take too long. It's looking very likely like Mr. Holmes is 2 levels away. And that would put JBT 3 levels away. And again, if there are not large agility increases, we'll see how much of a difference that Silver Shield makes. John making the very long walk down the map, getting as many encounters as he can along the way. I don't think he has any fairy water, and he doesn't have repel yet, so he's probably got to encounter everything along the way, but so far it's been all big enemies that he would want to fight.
Lucky break there. Well, there's a trash anyway, but he's just going to run away. He knows it's not worth his time. Gonna check his compass to see where he's at. He's definitely still got a ways to go.
Stream just skipped ahead, but yeah, it looks like another 50 steps south. Yeah, this map is fairly windy. I think it would have taken a very long time to count out the steps and wind around all the water bases to get to the token. I'm very certain I would have gotten the princess, and I think it was the right thing for both of them to do.
I wouldn't want to count out those coordinates on this map. I've counted out some big coordinates in my time, but those have been maps that, don't have a lot of water or mountains just messing up your movement path. You can just go one direction all the way and then the other direction all the way and call it a day. In this case, no.
We've seen a lot of close ones recently where the item was within 50 steps of Tantagel, and that's always nice to see if you're the player, knowing that you don't have to rescue the princess.
Well, some of the nicest things to see when you're the player are, yeah, it's 3 steps west and 0 steps south. Because, that's... I've seen, really, really easy counts like that quite a few times now. It happens. It happens just as often as the, 180 counts happen. It bounces out. Law of averages.
Yeah, and we saw one already in the very first round, an item that was 3 steps away, and I believe it was Edric's armor, just 3 steps away from Tentagel.
What I really want to see in this one of these races, even though it's completely improbable, someone's just walking around on the world map and decides, I'm bored, I'll search this tile. Oh, cool, I found some armor. You know, with no prior knowledge of coordinates or compasses or anything like that. It's just like, oh yeah, here's some armor. Okay, here we go.
The odds against are fascinating, but it could happen someday. I mean, I doubt anyone's going to randomly try and search in the middle of a race, but perhaps if one player's finished and the other hasn't found the coordinates, something like that, it could happen. You never know.
Well, some of us do just, out of habit, want to search that one tile after a bridge. You know, you're just walking along, you find this bridge that goes to this one tile island. You feel compelled to search it, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the odds of the overall item actually being there are clearly not good. They're very, very bad, but it's going to happen eventually. And I think it would be awesome to see that in the tournament, just to see someone just completely blind find the overworld item.
Yeah, that'll make a highlight for sure, the highlight of the century perhaps. It's pretty unlikely, if possible, that the armor would appear, for example, on a bridge. People were saying sometimes they search on a bridge tile, but I actually don't know if it's possible or not. If like a bridge might actually be, like a space where water was removed and replaced by a bridge, and if that's the case, I don't think the item could actually be on that same square.
Oh no, well you don't search on the bridge, you search the tile right after the bridge, because it's the only tile the bridge leads to.
Right, the single tile.
Yeah. That infamous bridge to almost nowhere. Looks like John's gonna go beat up some more golems with his fairy flute. He wants that luscious 255 experience points. Holmes is still grinding a bit at level 15 here, but based on his movement, it looks like he wants to see what that mini-boss is in front of Dragonlord. He's got the MP to make down there while he's just killing everything in his way. So why not get the foreknowledge for the future?
Yeah, I recently had a race, one of the longest races we've had in recent memory. It went over 2 hours. But Edric's sword was on the bottom floor, and the fact that I went over and checked the grind square afterwards, even though I only had, I think it was 9 MP left, it turned out to be an Axe Knight that had Stop Spell and Hurt, so with no magic and less than 6 herbs, I was able to build 3 levels without leaving, and that was the reason that I finished so far ahead of everyone in that race. I don't think anyone else made it to that grind zone. So there's always the potential for a huge gain just by checking that square.
Absolutely. I've definitely won a few races just by being that guy that's like, I wonder what's down here. Oh, this is what's down here. What's my MP? 90? Alright, cool. I'll just hang out here, grind some levels until I can win with 90 MP. Toss the odd herb in between battles for whenever, the monster decides to attack you instead of wasting its turn on hurt or stop spell. Yeah, it can definitely happen. There's definitely some real value in seeing what's on that tile. Even if you can't grind it, you at least know what's there. You at least know if you have to mentally, set aside one of your heal mores for that battle or not, or set aside a sleep or a stop spell depending on the enemy, right?
That's another excellent point. If it's, whether or not you have to use a stop spell, sometimes that happens, whether or not that's going to take a heal more away and affect your calculations, and whether or not you're going to need to burn a heal more to beat something like a red dragon that you don't really have a way around. Always a consideration, and it's always good to have as much information as you can, and MisterHomes is going to check that grind zone, and I guess he's also going to search for the fighter's ring, assuming he still has a key. I assume he does. MisterHomes is at level 15 now.
And John's about to hit level... No, wait, he just hit 14, my bad.
That's right. So yeah, I don't think Mr. Holmes got any attack power from that level, so as we expected, it will be at least level 16 for the win here.
I hope for both the players' sakes it doesn't go much higher than that, but Randomizer just likes to give you those one strength level ups 5 or 6 or 20 times in a row.
If there's one thing I would like to see, like I always like seeing new things, and in a situation like this, I would like to see the first finishing level be something where, for example, both players have less than 125 attack power, but they're compensated by a huge number of heal mores, and the result would be a very long but safe battle. It would be neat to see something like that, where virtually all your attacks are single digit, and it's still the right decision to go and fight the battle.
I don't think that's something that's happened in the Randomizer, but it's something that absolutely could.
Yeah, I haven't
You know,
seen
if
it
you're
yet
walking
either.
in there with 121, 122 attack power, you're looking at maybe 4 to 9 if you're lucky. But if you have 160 MP, I mean, you have to do that fight because that's automatic at that point. That's a lot of heal mores.
That's right, and especially if you have like 120-ish or more HP and a reasonable amount of defense, you can also get double attacks, and you've got to factor those in as well. Definitely more opportunity there than simply attack power base. So Mr. Holmes on the final floor. Again, I do assume he's going to check for the fighter's ring first. Playing it
There's
very
really
safe
no
here.
reason not for him to check it at this point, because he's still building up levels for the Dragon Lord.
Right.
And he spent enough MP on the way down that he should have no interest in just trying to grind the tile and then go fight Dragon Lord once he's at the level that he feels good about. So yeah, he is going into the treasury here. And let's see if he finds that ring or not.
Neither player went down to Garen's grave, so unlike the very first match I saw, I don't actually know if the fighter's ring is here or not. We'll find out soon.
Well, it wasn't in the treasury. It could still potentially be in that Erdrick's Sword vanilla chest. 1 and 3, right?
Right, whether or not he's willing to go back for it, I assume because he doesn't quite have his level yet, he's going to go check the grind zone first. He still has 3 heal mores left. I don't think he's thinking in terms of checking that chest, though. I think he's just going to go straight to the grind zone and see what happens. Lots of Axe Knights here, and he's going for the quick kills every time, not concerned about conserving MP right now.
No reason for him to try to conserve MP. He's not trying to win the game. He's just trying to build levels.
Yeah,
That's the right way.
I meant more so in terms of both making it to the grind zone and for keeping MP for outside. Depending on how far Sharlock is away from Tantagel, that can be something you want to consider.
What is a little weird there is that he didn't even make an attempt to actually see what was on the Dragon Lord mini-boss tile.
That was a surprise, and now I'm assuming he is going to go check that chest. But I'm not sure. He just went back and forth again on this floor, so I'm not sure at all.
Well, that's the level that he needed there.
And there's the power increase, so he's totally ready at this point. No question about it. He's going to go for it. A quick heal from town, and then he'll be right back.
Let's make it interesting, but the attack power is not leaving anything in question there.
Absolutely not.
If he doesn't get back attacked and he goes down with full MP, it's 100% fight. You'd have to fall asleep at the controller to lose at this point.
Absolutely. He's got more than enough attack power, 15 heal mores, and a safe zone of HP where he can get a couple double attacks in normal circumstances. Again, his defense power is very low, but I don't think he's worried about needing extra attacks at all.
No, I think we both know, and I think everyone watching that plays any of these races knows from experience, when you're doing that late game grind and you see a level that gets double-digit strength, you're just salivating for the opportunity. And when it's something completely crazy like 20 or I think it was the other night where we were just completely stonewalled until we got like a plus 30. It's like, yeah, it is fight o'clock.
Fight o'clock. It looks like I just ran the math, and it looks like it'll take an average of 13 attacks to kill the Dragon Lord at level 16 here. And of course, Mr. Holmes with 15 heal mores has no reason to worry anything. That also means he has bonus heal mores to compensate for his low agility in terms of running from enemies along the way. So no reason to worry here, and well over 90% to win, even with the walk through Sharlock, I think.
Well, it is going to be slightly difficult to run from a couple of these enemies. The main deal breaker here is, does he know that he can actually use 2, possibly even 3 heal mores if he rolls well enough on the way down and still be able to win the fight? That's another thing to keep in mind too. A lot of players will just try to run from everything, even to their death, and it's like, oh man, he got me. I wasn't able to run away, but it's like, you probably could have just cast heal more and tried to run away 2 or 3 more times there because of how automatic the fight was.
Absolutely. And yeah, but before I quoted his odds, I didn't consider the enemies along the way. I didn't see any red dragons, but clearly the armored knights are still something that he does have to worry about. He could attack his way through them, and there are many situations where that's a smart decision. I think it would work out well here when he's at full HP. And here is a red dragon, and it'll be interesting to see what his decision is. He's going to try to run, and hopefully he knows that he has a couple heal mores in reserve. This time he gets away, second try, and he's on his way.
His hit points are still high. He doesn't have a lot to worry about. He just used a herb there to top up. And, I mean, that's what the herbs are for, typically. I mean, there's a lot of reasons where it's like, yeah, you want to, if you have a borderline fight at least, you want to keep throwing herbs against the first form of the Dragon Lord until he relents and, either does a weak physical or a stop spell before you end that part of the fight. But if you have an automatic fight, you don't want to be wasting your time with herbs there. Just kill the guy and keep going. Like, with the strength that Holmes has right now, it looks like that's the situation. He just wants to get down there with his MP intact. Those herbs are completely expendable on the way down.
You're absolutely right, and again, with an extra buffer, there's nothing wrong with throwing away whatever your heal sources are. And Mr. Holmes appears to know that. Even if you're on a relatively safe floor and you can heal back with Edric's armor, you might just want to use an herb to heal for safety. And in this case, Mr. Holmes is in a position where he just doesn't have to worry about how many herbs he has on the bottom floor.
Mm-hmm. Erdrick's armor is great in that you get that 1 hit point back per tile, but Dragon Warrior, the game is kind of worse in where you can get an encounter on every single tile that you walk into. Sometimes discretion is the better part of valor. Just eat that herb before you take another step, because you never know what's going to happen.
John has just reached level 15, so he is within 1 level of victory, and if he finishes his seed, he will go at level 16, I'm sure. I haven't seen if he's gone for the rainbow drop yet, but I don't think he did. There's no reason for him to detour until he's actually ready, and it looks like he knows that.
Right, he hasn't picked it up yet. He has all the items, he knows where the cave is. He's just focusing on getting the levels because he was close to Hawksness whenever he picked up the token on the world map.
So another golem in the way of the Dragon Lord. Mr. Holmes playing it safe with the Fairy Flute. Nothing wrong with that, even though, of course, we can see that he could fight it without using the Fairy Flute and then use a heal more or a couple herbs at the end. But obviously not going to be a factor here. Everything looks to be totally safe, and with a few steps to go to the Dragon Lord, it looks like he will prevail.
Yeah, he's even using a heal more outside of battle there, not wasting time eating 2 or 3 herbs, just toss heal more and get away with it. He knows that he's got 2 or 3 to spare. My prediction is that he'll have 2 heal mores plus the odd bits of MP left at the end of the fight. And I think that's a pessimistic prediction with the attack level that he has there. I wouldn't be surprised to see 30 or 4 MP, but I'm saying 16 plus a bit. That's my prediction here.
Yeah, I agree. Just based on the fact that he didn't take any damage to put him down into double digits, I'm going to predict 3 heal mores left, maybe 4, but I think your prediction was good.
It's pessimistic, but you know, whenever you're calculating your own odds as you're playing this, that's the way that you want to look at it too. You want to know
Absolutely.
what your worst odds are and decide, okay, you know, are my worst odds feasible most of the time? Okay, are they feasible a good enough amount of the time? And sometimes, you know, maybe it's like, yeah, I could win, but I could also lose, but it's one-on-one, and I don't know where the other guy's at all, and I respect their ability. Maybe the safety level isn't good here. Maybe I have to take a chance. You know, there's a lot to consider. I mean, in this case, for Holmes, there's really nothing to consider. This fight is automatic. The only way he loses this fight is if he just, you know, falls asleep and smashes his face into the keyboard and picks the wrong move.
So yeah, a bit of an anticlimactic endgame here. A bit of an anticlimactic level 16, making it so easy and so obvious. But it was an interesting race leading up to that point.
It is something that happens, though. The randomizer does tend to give you that one big level late a lot of the time. It's really the seeds where you have that one borderline level, which kind of separate the men from the boys. You know, for example, if Holmes got 5 strength instead of 20, that silver shield that John had would actually come into play there, because they'd both be looking at a real borderline level 16, with John having the defensive advantage to actually make it to the boss.
Also worth mentioning, Mr. Holmes just took 50 damage from an attack from the Dragon Lord. With this low defense power, if hypothetically he had been in that range and missed out on the information, like he could have been killed just being overly quick and not taking the safety heal more. But he actually finishes with 5 heal mores left, so a very good battle for him, and he is the winner of this race.
We were both real cautious in our estimates there.
Yes.
I did. To be fair, I did see some pretty nice damage rolls on Holmes' part there. So yeah, Mr. Holmes is our winner. Congratulations. But you know, let's equally respect the valor of the defeated here, because John has played a very solid game. He's played a little more of a safe game than Holmes has. Did not quite pay off for him here, but he's going to have a very comfortable victory whenever he hits that next level. He'll just walk into Sherlock, he will stomp all over the place, nothing will be able to catch him. The odd time he can't run away, he'll take like no damage. It'll be a walk in the park.
For the record, I do appreciate players who have who are, you know, the only player remaining in a race actually finishing. I would certainly always finish, you know, unless there were extenuating circumstances like time pressure for whatever reason. So I'm glad to see John still sticking it out. He's only 3 now, because he killed this metal slime, 3 big enemies away from level 16, which he will know will be enough, obviously.
Oh yeah. What I think will be fun here is if he decides to go hit up and in, run through Sherlock, kill a few things on the way down, and keep going. I mean, he doesn't know that that really big level is coming. I mean, he might be able to guess that it's coming now, that if he's got IRC open, he'll know his opponent is done. And, you know, in a one-on-one race, that's like, oh, crap, I lost. But in a bigger race, when you see, you know, whoever finished first, it's like, okay, I know that big level's coming if you feel like you're really far away or something, right?
Yep. So here we go. If he doesn't make it to Hawksness, I guess he's still got a little bit of damage to go. He might just make the level on the way. I'm going to say it's about 4 more kills, maybe 3, depending on what he finds.
Yeah, it just depends on what he runs into. The next level is, correct me if I'm wrong, 9750?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So it just really depends on what he's going to run into. He's not going to fight anything that's worth less than 70. That Wraith Knight was real borderline. The only reason why he fought the Wraith Knight is because you can't repel a Wraith Knight. You just can't do it.
So yeah, I'm just waiting to see where he's walking to. I guess he's just getting proximity to Hawksness, because if this next level isn't enough, hypothetically, he'll want to keep grinding there, so that makes sense. And
Hello, hello.
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 Mr. Holmes has joined us in the Discord.
How's
Con-
it going?
Good. Congratulations on your victory. Very well played.
Thank you. It's a little
Good to see
sketchy
you
at
there,
times.
Mr. Holmes. Congratulations. You are the very prevailor that protect our right and justice.
I appreciate that.
I'm glad you were
Oh,
able to
okay.
get internet in time for the tournament.
Yeah, it worked out just perfect.
So,
Okay,
Holmes,
should give us-
we still got John just finishing up here. He knows what's going on. But tell us a bit about the race. Tell us about it from your perspective there, because we're very curious about that.
Okay, so yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of things that might have piqued your curiosity, both good and bad. First of all, the map was really, really crazy, as you can see. Like, the coordinates 100 south and 60 something east. And I was thinking, after I got the princess, because I'm kind of in the area, I immediately encountered a red dragon, and I thought, oh, I'm gonna die and go and look for it manually. And I'm really glad that didn't, because it was a huge winding path all the way down to the southeast of the map to get there. I don't trust my counting skills enough to do that consistently.
No, me and Card were both saying about that. If you had a more favorable world map, even with really huge numbers like that, it'd be possible to count it out. But with the shape that you guys had, there's just absolutely no way. It's just not smart to even try. You're just wasting
Exactly.
time trying to even do it.
So I got really lucky at the start. Like, I started a good exploration path. I'm not sure if John escaped the throne room with wings. Did he do that?
Oh yeah,
Yes,
he
you
did.
did.
Okay, awesome. So I was thinking, I was like, oh, he's a bit lower of a seed. Maybe he didn't do that. But so I thought I might have had a bit of an advantage with that. But even without that, I got a metal slime pretty early in. Got my run, and I was able to get some really good exploration along the north and east part of the map. Found a lot of stuff. So
Yeah, that definitely paid off for you. You found most of the stuff before John did. Like, you guys basically explored in a similar way, but you started your exploration just a little bit earlier than John did. So you had armor a couple minutes before he had armor. You had the stones a couple minutes before he had the stones, and then the staff, and then eventually the token, and so on.
what did you think of my little tour I took through?
Through where?
Through what? Sorry, you cut off there.
Through Breckenary. You hear me?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah,
heard you
I
that
heard
time. I'm just not sure what you mean. Your detour through Breckenary.
Oh, okay, so after I wanted to take wings back to Tajal, but I didn't have any. So I thought, oh, I'm gonna go walk into a shop and buy one. So I walked into Breckenary, and about halfway through, I'm like, wait, the shop doesn't actually sell wings. So I basically just walked west through Breckenary.
Oh, okay. I remember what you're talking about right now.
In case you were wondering,
we actually thought that you made a heads-up play there, where you recognized that you didn't have repel and wanted to buy some fairy water to just kind of keep those overworld mook monsters away from you. Those time waster, 3 experience, 4 experience, 8 experience, whatever guys that you don't want nothing to deal with at that point.
I didn't even consider that. It's something I'll have to keep in mind in the future. But yeah, once I did finally make it back to the starting castle, I kind of forgot where Jerk Cave was. So I had to wander around a little bit to reacquaint myself with that part of the map, because I hadn't been there in so long.
Yeah, I remember seeing you just... It looked like you were struggling a bit to kind of remember where the jerk was.
Yeah. Like, I knew I found him really early, then I explored every cave but it. So, yeah.
Yeah. John played a more conservative game than you did. John actually did the gold grind. I'm not sure if you were aware that you could actually do it there. You would have had to have opened all the chests in Tantagle and then go to the basement and then farm one of the chests that had gold in it and then cast outside. That's what John did.
Oh.
He ended up with the silver shield, and just from watching him right now, it's definitely paying off for him. He's just kind of laughing as he's running through Charlotte Castle here.
So I wasn't sure. I thought there was a scenario in they were trying to reverse gold grind like that in the basement. Wasn't working out, but I forget what scenario that was. Mike, would you be able to explain that?
Oh, yeah, originally I thought it was just the mountain cave that wouldn't work because it was a cave on the overworld, but I think in watching this race I realized something that someone had mentioned in chat was actually correct, and I took it for granted, but I believe the actual issue is you have to actually manually visit the throne room in order for those chests to actually be removed and count in the count. I'm very, very certain now that that is the correct assessment, that you have to go...
Okay. That's right, yeah.
So,
but the thing is, you can't be on the overworld before or after that, otherwise it basically isn't going to matter.
That's right.
So in this case, what John did, he would have died. There's the 3 chests from the throne room. He'd go to the treasury. He'd open the 4 chests. He knows they're not great, but that puts 4 more in the game's memory. So that's 7 already.
For
and
sure.
Then he would head to the mountain cave in Tantagil's basement, open a chest, and then find the one with the gold. And then he just kept opening it over and over again because that was the 9th chest. That was the infinity chest right there.
Exactly.
So,
I think...
So like, I don't know if you're aware of that or not, Holmes, or maybe even yourself, Card, since you seem to, like, you weren't too sure how that worked there. But
No,
it doesn't matter if it's actually in the treasury, as long as there's that single chest in those stairs in the Tantagil basement. It could even be one of those old man shrines, and, that's possibly all you need.
Yeah, I've done it with the tablet in there,
As long as it's
actually.
the 9th chest, you can repeat it.
Yeah, there was one race recently where I tried it out like it was my own race, and it didn't work out, and I didn't know why. And somebody mentioned that, oh, you have to go back to the treasury physically on your visit, and the reason I didn't think of that is because normally the gold grind involves a suicide where you're automatically sent back to the treasure room, or the king's throne room.
Yeah.
If I may interject really
You're
briefly.
basically doing it backwards, and go right ahead, Holmes.
Sure, yeah, like, I'm aware of that as a possibility. It's not completely new, but there was this scenario from the race just the other day that was fresh in my mind, and I'm messing about it. And even still, maybe I could have done it later, but at the time this sort of happened, I didn't know where a silver shield was sold. Like, I think there's maybe only 1 or 2 in the entire shops of the game. The first one I found
It depends on seed to seed. There's seeds where you can buy a silver shield at honest to God every single shop in the game, and then there's other seeds where it just doesn't exist. It's completely random. But yeah, sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
This seed, I didn't have a play. I think the first one I found might have been in goal, pretty far away. And so, in my mind, if I could figure out a way to do the grind, then I would have to walk all the way back there. But yeah, just the way it worked out, I was pretty, like, we had tons of healing and defense wasn't a huge issue. The only kind of annoying thing were the green dragons, which had heal and DL2 break.
There were definitely a few nasty enemies that you guys ran into on this seed.
Mm-hmm.
Can't disagree with you there.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I wouldn't call it a devil seed or anything like that. I was just really interesting. Nothing.
Oh,
really...
no. This wasn't a bad seed.
Yeah, you had a great start.
Ooh, John trying for that fancy Hurtmore strat. He didn't even need to. That might have been a mistake. He's still alive, though.
I considered doing that. No, I'm not going for swag. I'm just going to have a good solid race. Good. You never know when that 5.
Yeah. John is fully going for the swag here. I want to see him hit it. I mean, he's lost the race. He's just wanting to show off now. Oh, well, he went for an attack there. He's still going to beat him easily. It would have been fun to see it Hurtmore land on the Dragon Lord, though.
For sure. Oh. So what else can I say about that? Oh,
Tell us a bit more about yourself. Your name is MisterHomes, but that doesn't really tell us anything.
No. So, my name is Matt. I am
Hey, Matt, how you doing?
student. I'm doing still great. Still fantastic. I'm a PhD student in statistics, so I'm kind of really a lot of the numerical stuff in this game. And that's kind of the
PhD in
perspective.
statistics. I think you are playing the right randomizer for your skill set.
Yeah, for sure. Uh, there's so much more y'all have to learn. Just when I start to think it's like, not stagnant, but I know what I'm doing. There's still some things I'm just not sure about. Like, how to grind enemies. I mean, sometimes it's obvious and you can just go to Hawk's Nest, something like, but when, like today, there's a golem in Hawk's Nest, and there's no real great grind zones. It's kind of, it's unclear, and it takes some experimenting.
That's one of the things I love about Randomizer. Almost every single race I play, I still see new things that I've never seen before in new situations. And that's a really good example. When you can't find a good grind zone, what do? Do you just go to Sharlock? What if Sharlock doesn't have good enemies? Like if it's just dangerous red dragons with Dragonlord Breath on the first floor or something, what do you do?
Yeah, my backup plan, like, eventually I decided I was going to go to Sharlock. Then I realized, okay, I don't have to raid. That's what set that whole quest to get that. Had that all failed, I'm probably going to a little desert area, kind of around the middle of the map. I forget which town it was, but there was an area with red dragon, stuff you could hurt more that gave good experience. And it wouldn't have been great, but it would have been better than anything else I'd said. Good job. You didn't get a hurt more, did you?
No, I tried. I knew I had him. There was no way he was going to kill me.
Oh, yeah.
So I was
For
like,
sure.
I might as well just play around and see if I could just get a hurt more finish and make it look better than what it was. But
I've totally done that before. When I know I have extra heal mores, just gone for a couple hurt mores.
When it works,
Yeah,
it's the
especially
best
when you
feeling.
know the race is over. I gotta say, I respect the attempt that you made for a little extra swag at the end there. You knew it wasn't gonna be out. You wanted to show off a bit. And hey, man, there's nothing wrong with that. And you know what, John? You know, we were watching that race, and I think you did. I think you played really good, man. You played just a little bit more conservative than Holmes did, and that, in this case, ended up being the difference with that really big level up towards the end there. I think you guys both did really great the whole way through.
Can you
yeah,
elaborate
yeah, go ahead.
on what was conservative on his behalf? Is there anything specific that comes to mind?
About what,
That
Mr.
was-
Holmes?
Because I didn't feel like I played that run really aggressively. Saying that John was a bit more conservative, and I was wondering if you could elaborate on what he meant by that.
Oh.
Well, just from watching, you were the first to want to start exploring at a slightly lower level. Like you guys both hung out and gained a few levels at the start in the safe zone, but you left it a little earlier. You also weren't too concerned about the silver shield. You didn't grind the golem in Hawksness. You were just all gung ho about the exploration and taking it to Sharlock Castle there. The difference is, you were inside Sharlock, you were exploring while you were leveling, whereas John played it safe and just kept spanking that golem in Hawksness until he had the level that he knew that he could win at there, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
Maybe you
Because I
personally
figured-
didn't feel that you were too aggressive there, but as an observer, you were definitely the aggressor, as far as I'm concerned, watching the two of you play.
Sure. John, what were you going to say?
I felt that I was behind like the whole time because I had a really bad start. I thought that I had a bad start because I tried to dive into the mountain cave a couple levels earlier, and I took a few early deaths, and that really made me feel like I was behind. So when I found Hawksness and I realized I was good enough level to kill the golem, and then I got the armor. So I said, hey, I'm going to stick around and level up a little bit so that will make exploration a little easier because I kept dying on the trek trying to find anything. Like, I was just dying everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then I made a few mistakes from there. Like, I was walking around the map when I should have bought, like, fairy waters, so I didn't have repel. That would have helped out, and then I feel that I have some wings and stuff to help out too.
Yeah.
Especially when I had to save the princess, I didn't have wings, so I had to walk all the way to the castle instead of just casting wings.
Me too.
So I've lost a lot of time.
I had that same experience.
Yeah, mistakes I won't make next time.
Exactly. It's all learning process.
And the good thing about this tournament is it's double elimination. I mean, John, bad luck tonight. You lost tonight, but you got a second life, man. You are. Yep. I mean, they call it the losers bracket, but I think that's a pessimistic way of looking at it. I think that that's the second chance bracket. This is the time to take what you've learned from your defeat and apply it and just keep winning forever.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, there's going to be a lot of dangerous people in that bracket come towards the end.
Anyone can go on a run.
People. Yeah.
Well, honestly, this whole bracket is really dangerous. We got a lot of really talented people in here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm just happy to win one. That's very happy.
Well, I feel that I performed really well, especially being a newcomer coming in and not really playing the game very much. And
yeah, for sure. I look forward to seeing.
I just started. You broke that. I didn't hear you.
Sorry, I look forward to seeing you. Hopefully, you get to race some more with your work. Hopefully, you can find some free time. Did that come through?
So, do you guys know who your next opponents are? That's I guess that's the only thing really that we've got left to talk about here before we finish her off.
I'll take a look at the.
Speaking to him.
Oh yeah, that's right. Mr. Jackamus, Mr. Holmes' next opponent is you.
What? No way.
It's true.
Hey Holmes,
Funny.
how you doing?
I'm doing well. Still.
That's cool, man. I respect you, but I must break you.
I was gonna channel my inner Bender and say better people have tried, but that's just not.
I knew I was the underdog already.
And then on the other side, Johnbloodythumbs is going to be playing whoever. So first there are two matches between Shubinator and Zaire, and Zarnax and Cap Mars. And of the two winners from those matches, whoever loses that resulting match will play Johnbloodythumbs on the other side.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's very interesting. You gotta wait a couple of matches to find your next opponent. I mean, that doesn't even feel like, like much of a loss, really. I mean, someone's gotta beat someone else and then lose to even get the privilege to play you, right?
That's right.
The bracket's really neat like that.
Yeah, lots of time to practice.